What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Brendan, aka Drip from Team D.D.D, back with another video. In today's video, after a long hiatus, it feels like, because I haven't posted in a while, I'm back with my regionals ORCUST list. I haven't been posting because typically, if you don't see me posting, it's probably, if I don't mention it, it's probably because I'm preparing for regionals and or some other kind of event, and I like to lock in and just try to figure my crap out or figure the format out. Definitely if it's a brand new format and there hasn't been very many events to gather any data on, so I'm forced to wing it. And what makes it even worse is my computer is down, so I can't practice online and play against the new decks, so I have to all theorize it and just try to craft in my head, which can get exhausting. But one thing I want to mention before we get into this video is this is going to be an in-depth video, an in-depth profile and discussion, because I'm going to go over all the stuff that happened to me at regionals, all the stuff that I played against, where I think this deck fits in, how I think it's going to be moving forward, what I think us as ORCUST enthusiasts should do or look out for, etc., etc. So I'm going to go in depth about everything, main deck, extra deck, side deck, and stuff like that. So if you're only here for the video, then just skip ahead. I prefer you didn't, because it kind of feels like a slap in the face to me, but I get it. People are busy and they have things to do. They don't have time to wait around. But if you are seriously like wanting to learn this deck, and more so in the fact of how it combats the meta and all that, whether you're preparing for an event or not, then I recommend listening to the whole video. But with that out of the way, if you don't mind, please smash the like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button, bell notification, so you never miss an upload, and check the description for all the ways to support me. Discord's down there if you want to become a closer member of the D.D.D fam. Love you so much for that. And Patreon, TCG affiliate link, and everything down there below if you want to go pick up some of your juicy cards. No extra charge to you. I just get a kickback for your purchase, and I love you so much for it. But with that all out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this video. A lot of this is going to be kind of cookie cutter for the ORCUST engine, but I am running... I'm opting to run certain cards and opting to not run certain cards that other people are running, and the ones that I have run they came up very clutch, and the ones I didn't run that other people are running, ironically, it never came up for me through testing and everything else. But we got three of the best normal summon in the game. He's right there with Alistair as the best normal summon, baby. Then 3, Nightmare. I see a lot of people running this at 2. I don't agree with that, because you have to get into engine. This is a big hand trap magnet. Definitely Imperm and Valor, because they're the most predominant hand traps that I saw yesterday. So being able to have the third to find a way to get it out of hand is just so crucial. Then I am running 2. No offense to anybody else, but I do not agree with that bullshit statement. If you recycle your cards right, then you'll never get out of rotation. That's implying the game goes perfectly smooth and your opponents just let you play Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, unfortunately, this game in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2024, and has been for like the past ever, is all about not letting your opponent play Yu-Gi-Oh! I couldn't tell you how many times the second one has come up, even with me recycling the other one. It just comes up because you get in those awkward situations where they Imperm or Valor your Galatea and you can't recycle it, but you need another, but you have a Nightmare or something in graveyard, and you need to reborn your Girsu, your Dingirsu or something. So the second one does come up. I don't agree with that the statement. If you recycle right, Harpour, and then Wand, and then my spice card that I choose to run is 1 Brass. Hear me out before you get all butthurt and click off the video. If you're clicking off the video, then obviously you don't want to look at someone's list and hear their input on their experience, because that means you already have a list in mind and you're just mad at me because my list doesn't identify as what your list does. But yeah, the 2 skeleton comes up a lot, and it came up a lot yesterday. And then the harp is standard. I only run 1 wand. Normally you see me run 2, but I needed room to keep this at 40. And I kind of figured, worst case scenario, I can just use the Horus cards to summon back to make the hard make Dingirsu to add this back if need be. And I figured they were going to be, if there was Crow or anything like that, or Bestials, then they would just hit these and not the wand. So, but the reason for the brass is because the most prevalent hand traps right now in this format are like the most dominant, besides Nibiru and stuff like that, is Effect Veiler and Imperm that I saw all day yesterday, people playing. This card helps us not to get FTK'd by freaking Veiler or Imperm if we don't draw Horus. Ironically, I only saw Imseti twice yesterday out of 8 rounds. There was 9 rounds, but I dropped. I only saw Imseti twice, and he only resolved once. Now, King Sark I saw a couple more extra times than that, but still. Ironically, when I saw the King Sark, I never really saw ORCUST, so I had to get into the engine. But mainly, for the most part, all 8 rounds was just ORCUST engine doing ORCUST things. It was at one point in time where I was playing this one guy, and it was like late game 3, and he used talents to look at my hand, and he was like, "Wait, you play the King Sark package?" Because we're in game 3, and he didn't see any like sort of like identity of like the Horus engine or anything like that. So I was like, "Yeah, I do. I'm not good at Yu-Gi-Oh! And draw the cards that I need to." But the reason how this helps us play and not get FTK'd is if you draw this in tandem with this, okay? A lot of 5 heads will just normal summon this. Well, you just died to Imperm Veiler if you have no extender. As of where you normal summon this, link into Link Karibo, banish to summon this. Then, if they Imperm, which happened to me yesterday, they Imperm Veiler this. Now you just take this and link Karibo into Galatea, and your Galatea is live. As of where you just normal summon this, get Imperm Veilered, and you just lose. So, also this, I opted to run this as an extender / starter than Greffa. I'm not running Greffa. Greffa did not come up for me, and every time I saw Greffa, I never saw darks in my hand, and if I saw darks in my hand when I ran Greffa, it was always an Imseti, and Imseti Engage is a lot better than normal summoning Greffer or special summoning Greffer and then pitching to attempt to send, and they just hand trap you because this is a hand trap format. So I am not, spoiler alert, I'm not running Greffer, and I'm very happy that I cut him because he does not come up at all. He's just a weird brick. But I do run the Armageddon Knight because it's literally Gearsu without giving you tokens or becoming a tuner. But I'm not running Rhoda either because these are my normal summons. It's 5, which most decks, consistent decks, run 5 to 6 normal summons. Yes, I get Rhoda gets you to Armageddon Knight, but if you see both of these in together, you're always going to normal summon the Gearsu over the Armageddon Knight because this is an ORCUST card at the end of the day. What else is really juicy is if you see these two in tandem with one another, you can link normal summon this, or no, you can normal summon this, send this, and then banish this, special this, and then you're just you go +1 really. But yeah, that's my 5 normal summons, and like I said, I never once through testing or at the regionals missed Greffer or Rhoda. And then for the ORCUST spells and traps, since I have a higher engine, I run 2 return, 1 babble, and then one crescendo. The second return actually comes up. I know it can get bricky sometimes, but if you just side one out, then you're fine. That's what I always did. Game 2, I only kept 2 in if I was going first, because the reason why I run this at 2 is because this is a pseudo starter because it sends for cost. And even if you're going second and they ash this, but it sends for cost and you send like a nightmare or something, you can just target your opponent's stuff to foolish harp and then harp to summon Gearsu. So you're fine regardless. And it absolutely blows my mind that people still don't know what crescendo does, and it's 2024. Like, it just goes to show, like, not very many people, a lot of people are either new to the game or just didn't play much of 2019, which is the best format, in my personal opinion, best formats, rather. Then for the Horus engine, 3 Imseti, Mom Spaghetti, Vomit on Your Sweater already. 1 Happy, and then 3 King Sark. A lot, like, literally half my matches yesterday, I felt like nobody knew what the Horus cards did. I was playing against a Snake Eye Fire King guy, and I had this live. I had these live. I didn't overlay with them. I just had them up, and he popped my Galatea or whatever, and I just went Chainlink 1, Happy Chainlink 2, and SETI, and he was like, what are they going to do? And I was like, well, this one's going to non-target send, and this one's going to add stuff back from banished or graveyard. And he was like, oh. And I just pretty much broke his board with this and just helped break the board with this, and then just added back follow-up with this. What's really nice about Happy, too, is if you don't have to burn your crescendo to banish to add back, Happy can add your crescendo back to set it and make it live again. So it's really juicy and really nice in that regard. So, yeah. That's it for the Horus package. You don't need Darumataf. Any more 8s are just bricky. At one point in time, I was running the Darumataf 2 to help try to make 2 rank 8s on the board because I wanted to make Sky Prison and Lord to be able to like solidify my victory with when I'm playing against Fire King Snake Eye or just Snake Eye in general. But I decided just opt to rely on my hand traps because I was like, the way that out through testing and after that, through all that stuff, I was like, all right, if I can just simplify the game state or come close to simplify the game state with my hand traps, I know toe to toe, my engine, mainly the ORCUST engine, I can outgrind them. And I can easily just win this game. All I need is to double hand trap them, which sounds like a lot, but ironically, this deck is so open, you can easily fit 12 to 14 non-engine, which I run 14 non-engine. And only one time did running 14 non-engine screw me, but I'll tell you guys about that at the end of the video when we go over my matchups. And I'll go in detail about all that. But no, other than that, 14 non-engine was perfect because I would either draw King Sark and then either of my Orcus starters with 2 hand traps or 3 hand traps or 2 hand traps and extender like Foolish or Talent or something. So like it was very, very nice. So like both my Fire King matchups, even though I only played 2, one of them I won, and then the second one I oversimplified the game state, but we both got into a top deck war, and ironically, that deck just has a lot more starters than my deck does, so he just drew into a bonfire, and the rest is history. But neither Snake Eye Fire King matchup did I feel like I was completely out of the match. I was just straight dogging him, honestly. Even though I lost at 1, I straight up dogged him. But for the hand traps, we got 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, 3 Veiler, 3 Nibiru. Okay? Now let me go over this. I don't give a shit if it's a Fire King Fire format or not. You just play these game 1, you side them out game 2. It was hilarious against one of my Fire King matchups. He was just scrambling because I hand trapped him to death, but with the rest of them plus my side deck, that he was scrambling to try to find a fire because he wanted to make Heatha so bad because he needed to get into Princess, but he didn't have enough materials. So he was scrambling to look at my graveyard. He legit looked at my graveyard like 3 times looking for a fire, and I was like, nah, homie. I sided out the ashes, big dog. You're getting hand trapped to death, but you're not getting hand trapped by Ash. I'm not giving you a free Ash / free Princess, homie. I don't think so. But ironically, the MVP, like every single one of these hand traps put in work for me yesterday in all of my matchups. But the main ones were these 2. Veiler, guys, let me tell you. Veiler was literally the MVP of the entire day. Like when it comes to like my main board hand traps. The 2 that put in the most work were these 2. Imperm had its situations where it was MVP caliber against Cash, where a Cash player he Vanity Fiend me, and I just impermed, and then he hand trapped me, or he used a Cash Hero later, and I just used Talent Steal as Vanity Fiend, and then went on. But no, it was pretty crazy. But other than that, these 2 are the ones that put in the most work. 12 hand traps, and my rest of my utility cards, when it comes to like going second, first, was 3 Talent. This is a hand trap format. It is. It's a hand trap format, and this card was everywhere yesterday. Everywhere. Everybody was running. At one point, a guy hand trapped me, and I had gas anyways, and I just went, look at your hand, rip. So it's like it forces hand traps to, it forces to where most hand traps make you, if you see this or your opponent see this, activating a hand trap makes you go -2 technically, because you lose 1 in hand and you lose 2 technically, but 1 gets ripped. So Yeah, if definitely if they have extension like Fire King or something like that, yeah, but no. This card was absolutely insane. That's it for the non-engine, and then the last two cards of the deck is one Called By, which is absolutely cracked, and then one Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial is just standard. No need to be said. Nothing about that. Called By the Grave was nasty. I felt sacky as shit against one of my the Fire King matchup that I won. I drew this, and then I had Bell in hand too, so it was disgusting. Right off the bat and draw like standby phase, I banished his princess, so I didn't have to deal with that shit. And then I held the Bell for him because he used Whale and popped my stuff, and then he tried to use Garunix, and I just bailed the Garunix, so it was fine. That's we just win. We win those. For the extra deck is going to be fairly different from what you are accustomed to probably seeing, but every single one of these cards in my extra deck put in work. There was only a 16th card that I wish I could have ran, but there was no room for it in the main deck because obviously we were only allowed to run 15. But I'll get to that when we get there. But it only came up once. Other than that, it wouldn't have even really saved me at that point. But I still think this is the best extra deck list, in my personal opinion. One Link Karibo because we need it. Two Galley Girl, best girl. One Dark. We run the Dark even though it's not really a Dark format. Darks are always going to be around, but that's not the main reason why we run it. We're not even using this to really link climb. We either use this to make SP Little Knight go in second, or the best play for this is sometimes you open really freaking awkward to where you don't draw any Orcus cards at all, or you draw them SETI and you use the like the zombie vampire and you still don't mill because you have bad luck. At least maybe this just happens to me. I don't know. But if you have bad luck just like me, then listen up. And you still don't mill well, you can make this and then just crash into your opponent's stuff. And then this would activate in the graveyard to search your Girsu. So it's basically Rhoda at that point. So that's the main reason why we run it. And then for the rest of Link 2s, we got one IP, one SP, and standard. This has been the identity of the game since it came out. IP is IP. At one point yesterday, ironically, I guess they were afraid of Little Knight. But Little Knight wasn't going to really help me get anywhere. Then this one matchup, he had like a full board. I used Dingirsu, sunback Dingirsu because I had Babel on board, send a card, and then I used this, and I had a regular Girsu on board, and I used this and the Girsu to make long Girsu, and then because he had his monster had an arrow pointing this way, and I just summoned the long Girsu to send it. So I basically needed to break boards and shuffle my banished cards back to get me back in the game. So you don't always have to make a Little Knight with it. You can make this beautiful guy too, because a lot of people don't like this guy, but this guy's nuts. It's Dingirsu with legs. Like at one point, it was insane. I broke a whole board with this Dingirsu and Typhon because I summoned this, shuffled one, sent one, and then I summoned Dingirsu on top of this, sent another, and then summoned Typhon on top of Dingirsu, detached this to bounce another one. It was so insane. And then speaking of Dingirsu, one beautiful ulti, one beautiful QCR. The best boy, you need two. Two's been the standard ratio since like ever. Nothing needs to be said about that. I do run Photon Lord. A lot of people don't like to, but regardless, whatever beyond belief, this deck still loses to Nib. The Nib is literally the epitome of this deck's downfall. Granted, I didn't get nibbed once yesterday because I played around it. But whether I was making this, I only made this once yesterday, and it was actually to cut off Amblewell. But other than that, I didn't make this because I played under Nib, or I just spit in Nib's face and said, fuck it, if they got it, they got it. Because like I said, I very rarely even saw the Horus Engine yesterday because I'm not a skilled player. One Vampire, a lot of people don't run this either, but this card is really good. to get you in your engine, and if you steal a card with talents, you can use whether their monsters are level 8 or not, you can make this with their monster. So at very worst, even if you're not going to use this for the mill factor, like you can steal their shit and make this if it has a level. If it has a level, you can make this. Then 168 Sky Prison, because this just FTKs Fire Kings and Snake Eyes, so that's mainly why it's here. I didn't get the chance to make this once because I never needed to, because ironically, I only won 2 dice rolls out of 8 rounds yesterday, so I never got to go first and set this up. I was always forced to hand trap my opponents to death and then play with ORCUST, which is never really not really a bad scenario to be in. But one Zeus. This card was pretty good. My round 1 I played against Vanquish, and this actually hurt. He shifted me, which is kind of shitty and annoying, but very fortunate enough for me, I drew Gearsu, which Gearsu doesn't give a shit about shifter. You just normal Gearsu and send. It doesn't send to it doesn't have send to graveyard for cost or whatever. So like it can just get banished. And then I just summoned a token, made Galatea, shuffled the shit back. I set return, made Ding Gearsu, sent, and then I made this, and then wiped the board later on, and it just he lost out on so much resources. But I actually no, I take that back. When he shifted me, I nibbed him and he lost everything. Then game 2 I used this, he didn't shifter me, and then I just wiped the whole board with this, and it was all she wrote. Because at that point, Vanquish needs time to be able to rebuild their resources with rock and stuff. Vanquish is very good, but when it comes to recovering resources, this deck is a lot better than that deck is, just because it's a 2019 deck, baby. And then one Typhon, Typhon, aka Emperor Zurg from Buzz Lightyear, because he looks like a buff Zurg. God, English. But yeah, nothing needs to be said. It literally helps you break boards. And what's really cool too is, I mean, if you're an ORCUST player, you know this is just basically a floodgate, because none of our stuff goes over 26 unless we buff it with Nightmare. So this is a floodgate we can potentially sit on. That's like one game, like I said, I sat on it and he had like 2 materials. And the last card in my extra deck is one Borreload Savage, because we are already running the brass. We might as well run this, and sometimes not a lot of decks can push through Omni Negates. Whether you make this early on in turn 1, or you make this mid-game, which is where this card really shines, decks can't deal with it. This legit won me a game because I made a Borreload Savage with 3,800 attack, with 3,400 attack and 2 negates. So in mid-game, after like we were both not really in a top deck situation, but like our power cards were out of the way, and it was in mixture of resource management and top decking. I just made this, and it was kind of funny because when I summoned Brass, I used Nightmare to send Juan summon Nightmare, and then I had Harp in graveyard. I went Harp, banished, summoned Brass, and my opponent was like, this is where you make a Synchro 8, right? And I said, yes, exactly. That's exactly what we do. And they're like, oh, okay. And then I summoned this, and they're like, holy fuck, I didn't actually expect you to make a Synchro 8. And I was like, yeah, I wasn't lying to you. And then I just, I equipped IP Masquerena. But yeah, this card's really good. I know what a lot of you are probably thinking. Drip, why are you not running Access Code Talker or Boral Sword? Boral Sword I was running, but I cut it because it requires 3+ effect monsters, and our monsters are already huge. They can get really big, and you break the board fairly easy depending on your resources. So you clear the path for an easy OTK regardless. And like I said, the Horus monsters are huge, and I can't get myself to take 3 cards to make a Bull Sword when I get Bull Sword and Ding is game. But when you clear the board, Horus card, your 2 Horus cards plus Ding plus something else is enough for game when you're clearing the board, dude. So like I not once through testing, not once through the regional of 8 rounds yesterday missed Boil Sword. And we don't run Access Code because it's trash. Access Code requires different attributes of Link monsters, and I don't know about you guys, but every single Link monster in our extra deck is dark. So you're going to get 1 pop off of it, and that's it. not really push for game. So, yeah, no, access code in ORCUST is trash. But this is really good. This card, like I said, decks can't really deal with Omni Negates right now. They're not prepared for them. And making it early on, whether you like, typically if I could make this early on, I'll make this, then set, instead of making Babel, I'll set Crescendo, and you have Crescendo this and potentially hand traps, and no deck right now is going to be able to play through all that. So, but yeah, like I said, that card mainly shines in the mid game. But that's it for the extra deck. Perfect. The 16th card that I would potentially run that came up once in testing and once at the regionals is oh crap, what the heck is it? I don't know. I'll remember it later, or I'll comment it in the comment section down below. Token. Rest in peace, best girl. Then official legacy tokens, and then nib, because we got to flex on them when we nib them, and then my beautiful wife bought me this one, and I take it everywhere with me because I feel like she's there with me in spirit. Side deck. 3 Drow and Lockbird. Gold rares, they float. It's the only reason why we run them. They're ugly as shit, but they float. It's legally cheating, so why not do it if it's legal? Drow is actually very solid for me. Do not, I repeat, do not side Drow and Lockbird against Fire Kings. Yes, on paper it sounds good, but a good Fire King player is not going to start out with Bonfire unless they have to. And if you have a single hand trap or even 2 hand traps when they're starting out with Bonfire and not wanted or something like that, that means their hand is subpar anyways. So you can single, if you time your hand traps right, whether it's 1 or 2, definitely if it's 2, it's GG's. But if you have 1, you time it properly, you're going to win that game anyways. So they can play under this. Good Fire King players can play under this. So this is mainly for Rogue or Cashier or whatever else. But even, or bird shit. This bought me 2 turns because I drew 2 of them because, like I said, go rares float against birds. And then 3 Ghost Bell. This card is just epitome of the format, whether it's Labyrinth. Ironically, I didn't play a single Labyrinth player. I was just telling the homies yesterday on the way home, I was like, yo, how have I gone to 2 regionals and not play a single Lab player? That's insane. But no, this is good for Fire Kings, whether it's the Princess, the Garunix, or the Kirin, whatever it may be. Brain Dead when they try to gimmick Puppet Lock you because that deck has 0 skill and it's trash. Whatever the case may be. Bell's very good. And then 1 Crow. I wanted to have, this is ironically only in there because I have a fear of the cats, Pearly. Ironically, it's the main reason in there. But Princess, Garunix, everything else is just collateral damage. It was also mainly in there for, oh my god, my brain's just not working. Transaction rollback. So it was in there for that, and then Brain Dead trying to gimmick Puppet Lock you because people just don't know how to play decks with skill. But yeah, that's it for the monsters portion of the extra side deck. The MVP of the entire side deck, Cosmic Cyclone. Cosmic freaking Cyclone was the MVP of the side deck. Whether it was banishing floodgates or just freely banishing Fire King Island to break my opponent's board for me. Because if you hand trap him twice, and then whether you have this in hand or draw it for turn as your 6th card, you probably simplified the game state enough with your hand traps that they don't have the full graveyard that they want. So this basically being a Regeki is free real estate. So it's a Regeki, and it's just at outs floodgates or problematic cards or whatever the case may be. So this is literally, I think, going to be the best card in anybody's main deck or side deck for this upcoming format, whether it's fire or anything else, because it's like you get so much utility out of it. And another card that put in some serious work on with me is Forbidden Droplets. We got the QCRs at the regional yesterday, so we are not looking like slums out here with 1 ulti, OTS ulti, and 2 supers like I was. It was cringe. But no, Droplets was nasty. Obviously, it just, as long as you draw the ORCUST cards, you don't really care about sending cards from hand. I know a lot of people say this requires a lot to go through, but in ORCUST you don't, because you want your stuff in graveyard. It's where you get all your card advantage from your graveyard, not your hand. In ORCUST, which we all know that. And then the last card is just Feather Duster for Rescue Ace, Labyrinth, Floodgates, or anything like that. I didn't play Lightning Storm because I knew, through research, I knew Anti-Spell was going to be literally everywhere, and I did not want to lose to that because I just didn't want to lose to that. Even like Rescue Aces, some Rescue Ace decks are like running that to try to play around Lightning Storm and put you on drawing the Duster or the Evenly Matched. I didn't run Evenly Matched because if you know me and you're fans of the channel and you've listened to me rant about deck building the way I like to approach it, I like to approach my decks to beat the best deck. And then everything else can become collateral damage. And then I can side deck for the little more rogue options that don't get hit by the collateral damage the way I deck build. Meaning, Evenly Match is dog water against Fire Kings, because if you can't hand trap them and your only card that you got is Evenly Matched, you evenly match them. They'll keep their they'll keep the Flamberg, and then when you summon something, they'll just use Princess, pop the Flamberg, pop your card, and then Flamberg will summon 2 back, which will be Ponix and probably Poplar, and then they'll get double the follow-up, and off of that, they still end on 3 bodies, a pop, and 2 search for a follow-up to kill you next turn. If they time it right. So, evenly match, and you lost out on your battle phase, and they plus that. Them plussing that hard while you losing your battle phase is just not optimal. I don't give a shit how much this deck can clear the board. You're going to have to burn more resources to clear the board with Dingirsu, Longirsu, and Typhon in order to break the rest of their board, but then you're not going to really have shit for follow-up. Yeah, you might have a Babel and a Dingirsu, but like, yo, chill. Evenly matched is good against everything else, but I expect this to be a borderline tier 0.5, tier 1, tier 1 tier slash tier 0.5 format. I'm not going to really necessarily go on a limb here and say it's going to be tier 0, but it has remnants of one. So I wanted to build my deck and my side deck to combat Fire Kings. But yes, other than that, that's it for the deck profile. I want to speed through the rest because this is a longer video. I think this deck is very good right now. Sadly, my record was 4-4. It was nothing that I really did wrong. It was just bad luck, because whether a lot of people want to admit it or not, this game is skillful, but a lot of it comes from luck. One of my losses, I lost to Melfi Sprite. He was a really cool guy. Game 1, I blew him out. Game 2, he set up a board. We simplified the game state, and he literally just top deck starter. So I couldn't really do nothing. He just went starter, add blue, grab jet, grab smashers, and then proceeded to make Sprint to send Nimble Angler, and we know the rest of the Sprite combo. So that was literally it. It all literally came down to top deck situations for my losses for the most part, besides my last one, which really made me heated. So it's a little heating, but I can tolerate losing to top deck than losing from getting straight blown out or just misplaying. My second loss came to Fire King, which was literally a top deck situation. I hand trapped him to death, and then he hand trapped me to death, and it was just a top decking game. But he was a really, really good sport. For the most part, all of my people I played yesterday were very good sports. Then my third loss came to Kashtira. Kashtira, ironically, is a very hard matchup for us. I didn't think it was going to be. It's not really so the fact of Fenrir being a thing. It's the fact that they have so much follow-up and just follow-up / recurability that you literally have to try to find a way to make a Zeus without activating a monster effect before you can kill them. But that would also require seeing the Horus engine, which I never could, unfortunately. But it was very rough. I managed to clear the board several times, but him in previous turns searching extra berths was just too much for my deck to handle, because one berth just brings back everything for the most part and sets him so far ahead. But that's why I lost that one. but I can tolerate that, I guess, knowing that I just have a bad matchup against that. And then my fourth loss, which was the most triggering because my deck actually has a very good matchup against this deck, was against Centurion, pure Centurion. But game one, like I said, I lost a die roll against all, except for I only won 2 die rolls. My fourth loss was the Centurion, and game one I opened double talent, Valor. No, not not Valor. Double talent, Ash, Nib, and I think it was a Girsu. No, not Girsu. It was something, but not Girsu. But the reason why I said something because both the one highlight I wanted to take away from that last loss, game 1 and 2, which I got 2-0'd. Game 1 and 2, I drew only hand traps. That's why I said earlier in the profile that it main decking that many non-engine screwed me over only one time. Other than that, it was perfect. I drew only hand trap / go second cards during both game 1 and 2. All 5 cards. And then game 2, my 6th card was a droll. Because I wanted, it was a droll. Because he was playing the bonfire engine and stuff like that too. So I was like, all right, maybe I can slow him down with droll. And I didn't really have nothing else. No, it was a crow. Sorry, it was a crow. Because I wanted to crow the Primary out of the graveyard to try to prevent him from Calamity Lock me. No, that's right. Sorry. But yeah, remind you, game 2 I sided because I know game 1 I drew double talent, double nib, and an Ash. That's what it was. Double talent, double nib, one Ash. And in game 2 I drew double talent, double nib. Crow was my 6th card, and then it was something else. It was literally what's bad is it was literally nothing that I could do. Oh no. The 5th card was all right. I'll take that back. The fifth card was wand, the one of. So I guess you could say I saw engine whatever, but it wasn't a starter. It was the one of. Remind you, game 2 I sided out a nib and I sided out nib and I sided out. I put nib to 1. Oh no, damn it. I should have wrote notes down. I'm trying to remember everything. I put nib to 2, and I put talent to 2. I didn't really have nothing to side in for that matchup, really, besides the Cosmics and the Crows. So that's why I didn't know what else to really side out. That's the only reason I left nib in there, because I know a lot of y'all are probably like, why'd you just take nib out? They never really play into it. I know they don't. But unless I think they can play into it when they go the Trudea route, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, they still don't. But either way, that was very unfortunate, and you can't do nothing jack diddly shit about that. So, yeah. Other than that, I love the list. Main deck is literally perfect for this fire format. I'm not going to change anything. Now, depending on how the ban list comes, I have some spicy stuff I really want to play, but I don't want to mention anything yet. I just need certain cards to come off, to come off the ban list to be able to do it, because I already have like the deck theorized and kind of made. I just need Konami to be a homie and release this card off the ban list. But other than that was my matchups. Unfortunately, I went 4-4. A lot of people dropped. If I wouldn't have lost the Centurion matchup and I would have won that one and I won out the last 2 rounds, I probably would have topped, even having a trash X3 record, if you want to call it that. Would have finished 6-3 because a lot of people dropped and I would have bubbled up. I mean, a lot, like it was like 470, 460-ish players or whatever, and like I heard someone say over 100 players or more dropped, so it was insane. I guess those people who just were going for top 8 or whatever, and after they got X2, they just dropped. I don't know. I probably got their invite already or something, but other than that, I love this deck. It's very good, this format. It's very good moving forward. And definitely when it gets to surprise factor, not very many people know how to play against it if they didn't play in toss format. But with that being said, this video is very long. I'm going to leave timestamps at the bottom. If you've made it this far, then I love you so much for that. It really shows me that you're a real MVP, and you deserve a gold star. But I love you guys so much. It's your boy Brendan, aka Drip from Team D.D. Sign out till next time. Peace. Good dueling, my guys.